So I feel pretty satisfied that we're on some track that's acceptable to the group in terms of just a framing of a possible exercise. Did I get that right with your inputs? I will, Lisa and I will take those into consideration. Adrian, you're on the hook as well. But all in all, some kind of background / exercise to get people into this mode of thinking about what would it activate to think that it's time for us to actually step in more proactively into looking at everything we do, not just as reducing emissions or reducing the footprint, but be much more thoughtful about proactively engaging in a way that actually restores, that repairs, and sort of help them think their way into that.
I just put something in the chat. I missed a little bit of the last part because there was a call that came in and I had to take before I lost it. But this was this climate simulator at climateinteractive.org. I don't know if you all have seen that. It's a little bit complicated to figure out how it works, but if you follow this link, or you can just, it's a En-ROADS, EN, and then hyphen roads simulator. But you can put in how many degrees. I was thinking of it around the discussion of just telling people the number of degrees, that doesn't really help because people it's not emotional. You just, we're going from 1 degree to 2 degrees. Like it feels like, well, that's not very hot intuitively, but you can actually put in your home address. Now, it makes more sense for people who are in danger of flooding because it'll show you sea level rise is one of the things you can put in. So there's a lot of different variables, but you can also go to the map on it. So for us in California, because we're around the San Francisco Bay, we can actually see street by street. You can put in the number of degrees and see how far does that make the water come into our town. And I can go, this is when my really good friend's house is underwater. This is when this other friend's house is underwater. This is when it would get up to our place. And so sometimes, or just seeing where it's in places that or places you visited or care about. So I know that it's really effective with sea level rise. Now for other places, it's the fact water. And I haven't really seen how effectively it might show that. I don't know if it just turns red and says, yes, there's, would be no more water in this city. Which is starting to happen in some of the places in our Southwest, where there's a couple of suburbs already of some very wealthy suburbs in Arizona that just are not going to have water starting January 1st. They're getting cut off. And that's because our rivers and Lake Mead and things where a lot of the water comes, and also the hydropower, electricity may not be completely reliable. So anyway, I put that in the link.
Actually, back to the question of what motivators are for like a systems change. Just from the conversation, it seems like what I was hearing is there's either addressing the threat, just like these models show, where people face the decision, yes, this is a really big problem, we need to take action, or they say it's not happening, like it's a hoax. That's a very popular phrase nowadays in certain political spheres. On the other hand, there's this idea of prosperity where it's like I can make more money going into this industry, more money, more free time. Or there's also like the opposite to that would say the money is not that important, but there's this social cohesion, like community aspect. But at the end of the day, this work actually, like there are channels and motivators for each one of these parties. It seems like more of a challenge of helping each party recognize that there is a benefit to this work that serves an individual agenda.
Well, Herman, did this talk help you to formulate what you're going to present to us in the near future?
Yes, if you'll show up, if you tell me that you're going to show up to an exercise like that, we'll keep Lisa and Adrian will continue to build on it, and I'll check it with individuals. I'll run some things by Maya too and others. By the time we show up, it should be in pretty good shape.
Because we'll present a bit, but then it's interactive. It's for discussion and work that goes on from there.
Yeah.
What we could, depending on how many people.
Yeah, the key is obviously getting people to the event. For me, I think the real potential is in the concept of repair, Herman. I think that's where you're going to be able to workshop effectively and get people to engage in that, because this will be a new concept to people. And,
Well, and also to help each other. So the idea of the actual workshop would be to have a group of 4 or 5 people. One person raises their hand and say, help me out to figure out what will be my handprint, or, you know, how could I turn my work or my fleet of cars or whatever it is they have into an instrument of repair or restoration. And then there will be a discussion and people would help each other out, and they go, oh, that was interesting. Never thought about my, you know, fleet of cars or my properties or my fields and my agricultural activity, you know, as that, you know, like how would I. So that would be the idea behind the exercise, would be, you know, for people to help each other out and then to report back and say, you know, in this case, this is what we came up with.
One question is, I think it's in early December, and for us in the US, the end of November is a holiday with Thanksgiving and people traveling. And so just.
I think we were working on the second Friday, Lisa, so I'll confirm that with Ivan and come back with the date. The other thing, just quickly, case study, which I found about a couple of days ago in the Philippines, was an island paradise where people used to go to holidays, and then they developed it, built all multi-story accommodation and everything, and everything turned to poo, right? So it became horrible. The water was horrible. The dictator that came in got rid of everything, shut everything down. And it's returned back to the paradise that it was, that it used to be. It's a really great example of what you're talking about, Herman. I'll get the details of the island through to you today, because I think it's a wonderful snapshot of exactly what you're talking about.
Beautiful. That's the thing.
Brendan, the connection with Miguel Del Mondo and Roberto Christos from the Philippines, these people are working in this area and also working in the area of metaverse. And I think that whole concept of visualization of the sorts of things that Herman and Lisa are speaking of, and the ideas that can be used to lay hold with your hands and make changes. They can be visualized for people through the use of metaverse. So I'll ask both Miguel and Roberto if they would attend
to join us. Yeah, sure. Time. Brilliant idea.
And then you know, they can actually speak to I've been to that island, and they can speak to that island.
Brilliant.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, guys, we've gone over time. It's been really exciting to see Maya and Dan and Wayne and the other guy who I can't. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Yep. And let's get together again in 2 weeks, and I'll be in communication with Herman. We'll get some emails out about information and a flyer so you can get it out to people. That's just a wonderful session. Thanks, folks.